If somebody came up to you tomorrow, grabbed you and said, I got a job, a good pay for you, would that make a difference?
Come on, let's go now.
They ain't gonna stop me from cripping.
But you take the job too, wouldn't you?
Huh?
You take the job too?
I'm a crip at work.
Because I always thought that I was gonna diss, but I ain't gonna even diss. I thought the Geer gangs got they hood took by the 18th streets. This is what I thought, you feel me? Just from the history that we heard and what happened and all this No. My homies told me this, some real homies told me this. Like, nah, nigga, they didn't get their hood took because the 18s was whooping their ass and busting on them and doing Nah, they told on them. SA's got a green light to tell on black.
The Geer Gang Crips are a long-standing street gang that originated in the West Adams district of South Los Angeles during the late 1970s. Centered around Geer Avenue and Hauser Boulevard, the set quickly became known for its involvement in narcotic sales, violent rivalries, and territorial disputes that reflected the wider conflicts between Crip and Blood gangs across Los Angeles. Over time, their reputation extended beyond California, most notably to Toledo, Ohio, where Geer Gang members established a strong presence in the 1980s. Today, the gang is remembered both for its historical role in South Los Angeles gang culture and for its continuing, though diminished, presence in neighborhoods and prison networks. The Geer Gang Crips originated in the West Adams district of South Los Angeles, with their formation generally traced to the late 1970s. While an exact founding date is not recorded in official documents, community accounts and oral histories point to the gang's emergence around Geer Avenue, which became the namesake of the set. By the 1980s, the Geer Gang Crips had established a visible presence in West Adams. Local reporting from that era identified young members in the neighborhood, including figures like Tommy T-Top Rivers, who joined the gang as a teenager during that decade. Their activities reflected the broader rise of Crip sets across South Los Angeles at the time, many of which were consolidating identities tied to specific blocks and streets. Despite changes in Los Angeles gang culture over the years, the Geer Gang Crips have remained rooted in their original neighborhood. Federal law enforcement reports in the 2020s continue to classify the Geer Gang as an active street gang with deep historical ties to West Adams, underscoring the set's longevity and persistence over more than 4 decades.
Susanna, drive-by shooting in West Adams has left an 18-year-old man dead. It happened around 9:45 last night on 29th Street in Somerset. Police say a man in black drove up in a gray BMW and fired multiple rounds at the victim. He was pronounced dead at the scene. The suspect took off and is still on.
The Geer Gang Crips are based in the West Adams district of South Los Angeles, with their primary stronghold centered around Geer Avenue and Hauser Boulevard. Their territory historically stretched from West Adams Boulevard on the north to Jefferson Boulevard on the south, covering parts of the Harvard Heights and mid-city neighborhoods near the University of Southern California. During the 1990s and 2000s, the Geer Gang Crips were considered one of the most visible Crip sets in West Adams, regularly involved in street activity across their claimed blocks, including Smiley Drive and the 2100 to 2700 stretches near Geer Avenue. Their presence was marked not only by territorial graffiti, but also by violent clashes with rivals as they sought to assert control over this section of South Los Angeles. The Geer Gang Crips are among the most prominent Crip sets in Toledo, Ohio. They are widely recognized as a deeply established gang with roots that date back to the 1980s. According to community sources, Members were drawn from founders originally from Los Angeles who brought the gang's identity and structure to Toledo. The Geer Gang Crips claim and represent multiple blocks across the west side, commonly referred to by their numeric designations: 1100 Woodstock, 2100 Joffre, 2200 Auburn, and additional areas including 1000 Parkside, 900 Shirley, 1600 Macomber, 1500 Ottawa, 2000 Miles, and 1900 Calumet. These territories form the core of their influence and mark some of the most active Crip neighborhoods in the city. Over the years, the Geer Gang Crips have been locked in intense rivalries with several local gangs. Their deadliest confrontations have been with the Manor Boyz Bloods and the Cherrywoodz Crips, despite the Cherrywoodz being Crips. Neighborhood conflicts have escalated between them. Detective testimony and court records confirmed that in the summer of 2019, the Geer Gang Crips were engaged in an active feud with the Cherrywoodz Crips, resulting in multiple shootings.
I thought the Geer gangs got they hood took by the 18th streets. This is what I thought, you feel me? Just from the history that we heard and what happened and all this. No, my homies told me this, some real homies told me this. Like, nah, nigga, they didn't get their hood took because the 18s was whooping their ass and busting on them and doing shit. Nah, they told on them. SA's got a green light to tell on blacks, you feel me? And some people don't know that, but a lot of people probably do know that. But the Hispanics got a green light to tell on blacks. So once that happened, all you gotta do is tell on all the killers. Now who they beefing with? The niggas that shooting, that's Jay Blaze? The niggas that shooting, they told on them, they told on the killers. So who else out there? All the busting niggas that if they do get shot at or shot, they gone. So that's how they got their hood took. I was like, damn, that's crazy.
Law enforcement characterizes the Geer Gang Crips as a violent street organization whose core activities revolve around narcotics distribution, armed assaults, and gun violence. According to testimony from LAPD gang experts, the group's primary activities include drug sales, drive-by shootings, and assaults with deadly weapons. One prominent case illustrating their methods was documented in a 2013 California appeals court opinion. In that incident, Geer Gang member James Fletcher and an accomplice drove into territory controlled by the 18th Street Gang and opened fire on a rival named Campos, reportedly shouting F-18th Street before pulling the trigger. Prosecutors argued that the attack was not only an act of retaliation, but also intended to benefit and enhance the reputation of the Geer Gang Crips by instilling fear in rivals and reinforcing their claim to the neighborhood. Drug trafficking has also been a consistent thread in the gang's activities. Detectives investigating shootings and robberies in the West Adams area frequently identified Geer members as active street-level narcotics dealers. Over the decades, the Geer Gang has been connected to numerous homicides and violent confrontations. The 1990s and 2000s in particular saw repeated flare-ups of gun violence in West Adams, many of which were tied to Geer members. In one tragic episode in 2010, a former Geer member who had left the gang to work in community intervention was fatally shot in an unrelated street attack, reflecting the dangerous cycle of violence that continues to touch the group and its associates. The Geer Gang Crips are part of the larger Crip network in Los Angeles, but like many sets, they maintain a mix of alliances and rivalries with both Crip and Blood factions. Among Crip groups, their closest allies have historically included the Schoolyard Crips, another West Adams-based set. The two gangs were even named together in a joint injunction issued by the city of Los Angeles in 2006. One of the Geer Gang's most significant conflicts has been with the 18th Street Gang, a predominantly Hispanic group with a stronghold in West Adams. By the mid-2000s, police described the two gangs as being openly at war. During this period, Geer Gang was estimated to have between 85 and 100 members, while the local 18th Street clique, Smiley Drive, numbered closer to 30 or 40. To compensate, 18th Street reportedly called in support from other cliques in the area. Law enforcement pressure during this conflict eventually led to targeted injunctions and arrests against Geer Gang members, further intensifying tensions. The gang has also clashed with blood sets in South Los Angeles. Police experts have testified that the Rolling 20s neighborhood bloods and the Black Pea Stone bloods, also known as the Jungles, were considered long-standing rivals. The conflict with the Rolling 20s dates back at least to the early 1990s, when a Geer Gang member was implicated in the demise of a 20s blood, sparking continued hostility. Relations with the Black Pea Stones, however, have been more fluid. While traditionally enemies, accounts from the 2010s suggest that the two groups had, at times, established a working peace in certain neighborhoods. Other adversaries named in community sources include the Crenshaw Mafia, Fruittown Brims, and Van Ness Gangster Bloods, though these rivalries have been less consistently documented. The Geer Gang Crips have been a consistent target of law enforcement in Los Angeles. In 2006, the city obtained a civil gang injunction against the Geer Street Crips, alongside the Schoolyard Crips, which prohibited members from engaging in certain activities within designated areas. The injunction remained in place for more than a decade until a 2017 class action settlement led to the lifting of thousands of such restrictions, including those that applied to Geer Gang members. Today, the Geer Gang Crips remain active but far less prominent than in past decades. Federal and local law enforcement continue to monitor the group, and even recent federal complaints have identified members operating within the prison system. While the Los Angeles Police Department still classifies them as an active set in South Los Angeles, overall gang-related violence in the city has declined compared to earlier years. Many older members are now incarcerated or retired from street life. Still, police note that the Geer Gang maintains a presence in its traditional neighborhoods, where members are occasionally linked to drug sales, gun possession, and sporadic outbreaks of violence. The story of the Geer Gang Crips reflects the broader history of Los Angeles street gangs. Local roots tied to specific neighborhoods, growth fueled by the gang culture of the 1980s and 1990s, and decades of violent rivalries and law enforcement crackdowns. Despite heavy police attention, injunctions, and community intervention efforts, the Geer Gang has persisted, maintaining a foothold in West Adams while also expanding its name to cities like Toledo, Ohio. Today, the Geer Gang Crips are less prominent than during their peak years, but they remain an active set, with members linked to narcotic sales, prison networks, and sporadic violence. Their history underscores both the long-term endurance of Los Angeles gangs and the continuing challenges posed by intergenerational cycles of poverty, territorial identity, and retaliation.